Hey everybody, it's Cory from Massdriver. We just launched our V2 last night and I wanted to give everybody a quick tour. And I figured no better way to do that than show you it in Massdriver itself, how we manage Massdriver. So this is our dashboard in Massdriver for managing Massdriver. So this is what the new UI looks like. We got, sweet dark mode. I know everybody's been clamoring for that. I'm going to turn it off because I like to, just kind of burn my pupils out. But I'll walk you through some of the features that we added to the product. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Slack or via email. Happy to hop on a call, walk you through some of the new functionality one-on-one. So first, there's a lot of stuff that we retired. So, we've moved about 27 cloud services into a monolith over the past year. And so you can see in Massdriver itself, we got about 7 projects or so. And you got a couple of them that are retired, and this drives me nuts seeing this. We go in here, we edit the description and say that it's retired so we know the project's old. So one of the first things I'll show you is attributes. So attributes are kind of core to how our whole new ABAC model works. We ship with a handful of attributes that are built in. You can see these under organization attributes. These are the ones that are built in, so these are kind of all the resource level ones: project, environment, component, repo, instance, bundle, resource type, and the actual ID. So you can use these attributes to assign ABAC permissions on specific Massdriver concepts, but you can also create your own attribute types. And I'll kind of show you how this works. So I'll go ahead and add a new attribute here. And I'm just going to call this one maybe project lifecycle. I will set the scope to project, and what this is going to do is it's going to make this attribute appear on all of my projects in Massdriver. So it'll be required going forward to create a new project or edit a project. I'll have to put this information in, and then based on your permissions, it will expose the different values that your end users can pick. So we have a couple different life cycles here. So we have active, retired, and then experiment. And so, we have active projects, we have projects that are retired, they're ready for deletion, and then experiment. So what's really nice with this is you can use this to make the ABAC system pretty powerful. So I can say no active projects can ever be deleted. The only thing that can be deleted are retired projects. So you can actually use this to not only categorize your stuff in Massdriver, but also pass down tags to your cloud. So you can have maybe a project lifecycle in your tags on AWS, but also, again, use it for gating who can do what to your resources. So I'm just going to add this one really quick, and then we'll hop over and take a gander at what this looks like. So now I can come in here, I can hop over to this audit log V0. So the first thing you'll notice is in Massdriver, typically when you click on a project, it would take you straight to the canvas. Now we're going to take you to this project page where there's going to be a whole bunch of information that's available here, adding a lot more stuff over the next couple of days. Just had to get the major hump out with the new V2. So you'll see at the top, one of the first things we have is clone projects. So you can clone projects now. We have a template policy pattern in the docs that we'll share. So you can actually build templates and architectures now. So any project in Massdriver can be cloned to another project. It'll give it an exact replica of the canvas that can be independently owned with its own environments. But you can use these attributes to do things like maybe make a project type, standard and template. And so now you can say you can't deploy template projects, you can only clone them, right? And so you can kind of use the ABAC system to model the platform the way that you want it to work. So what I'm going to do here is I'm not actually going to clone this. I'm just going to go ahead and edit here, and then I'm just going to set this to retired. Hit save, and then you'll see that there's this project lifecycle retired here. So now I can go into the groups and say that anybody that's an admin can delete retired projects, right? I'll go back over into the organization settings here on the side. You can see that we've got groups now. You still have the two built-in groups, admin and viewer. You can see that I've created a group last night for our GitHub actions. I'll go ahead and make a new group here, and maybe we'll call this project admin. And I'll go into this project admin group and I can create a policy. And so here you'll see all the different ABAC policies that are available now. So maybe I want to do project delete. And I'll say by default we'll do allow. You could do deny as well. Denies win. So if you do anything deny, can't get into it. Each policy is evaluated independently, so they're not banded across your policies, but each policy in and of itself is an and. So you can kind of do these, what we call multi-action policies, so you can actually mix the entity types here. I could say that maybe this one can delete projects and delete environments. For this example, I'm just going to go ahead and take this off. And then you can add conditions. So by default, if you don't do anything here, this is the wild card. So this would allow the project admin to delete any projects. I haven't put any conditions limiting them. And you can see that we have a real-time human description of what the policy does here. And that's not written with AI. That's actually just good old-fashioned computer science. I'll go ahead and hit add here, and you can see all the attributes that are available, including this custom one that I put on. And so now what I can do is say, can delete projects where project life cycle is retired. Hit that add policy, and then I can add one more here. Let's say project delete, bingo, deny, add condition, active and experiment. Right, and so gotta actually select the policy here. There we go. Cool. And so now I will never be able to delete an active or an experiment. Maybe you want to make experiment deletable. Up to you, your attributes. But I do have an explicit allow to delete anything that is marked as retired. So what else can you do here? Data classification for maybe your what we used to call manifests or components, your bundles on the canvas. So we have teams that will classify their data. Maybe you want to mark environments as having certain compliance requirements. Right, and so what's really nice with this is, again, all of these attributes augment the forms throughout the site, projects, environments, etc. All of these attributes cascade down through all of your resources. So if I set the project lifecycle here, that'll actually end up all the way down on my deployment as well, the resources that are produced by that, so you can have, you know, essentially a wealth of information about your cloud resources. Integrations, if you haven't seen this, we moved all of our cost stuff to integrations, AWS Azure here, also SCIM. You can turn those on if you want. General, you can upload a logo now, which is pretty tight. Check this out. But let's go ahead and hop over into the projects, because I know it's the exciting spot. So we'll go ahead and I will look at XO. So this is our execution orchestrator. This is essentially our Kubernetes environment where we are running a lot of our workloads today. Let me move myself out of the way. So you can see Canvas looks fairly the same, a little nicer, a little more cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and do dark mode here as well. Pretty cool. A few things I do want to show, though, that may be a little bit different. First, you got this drop down up here, so you can quickly switch between projects, quickly switch between environments. Environment defaults have moved up here, and now anything can be a default. If you click the pencil here, you'll actually see all the different types that you have, resource types that you have registered in the system. And so now you can make anything a default for your entire canvas. So if you haven't used defaults before, what they let you do is essentially remove lines from the canvas. Maybe you don't want to have a bunch of lines tied back to an IAM role for doing your deployments. You can say, hey, this is a default, and it will route into all of your bundles on the canvas. Something else that we did, let me hop over to our API really quick. There we go. Something else we did is we moved remote references. So remote references are fairly similar to environment defaults. They let you swap out a resource on your canvas so you can introduce disparity. Maybe in your staging environment, you want to share a database between like all of your preview environments, but in prod, you want a dedicated database, right? You want the canvas to look the same, but you want the source to be from someplace else. So this used to be on the thing itself that you wanted to replace. And in this version, it is now on the left side. So you can mouse over here and you can see that while we might make a test environment where we spin up our own Kubernetes cluster for that test environment to fiddle around, in our production environment, we're actually remote referencing this to our production cluster, right? So it allows us to introduce that disparity. Why would I want to do this? Well, the team that's managing API, we don't want them managing the Kubernetes cluster. But if they need to test something out, maybe they need to spin one up, try something out in a new test environment, and then they can promote that to prod. Compare works the same way for comparing environments that it previously did. This will probably look a little silly because I don't think I have anything deployed in this test environment. Hit compare here. You will see that it is a much nicer presentation than it used to be, which is great. Also got a couple of options for filtering down to a specific thing. So if I wanted to get in here and see specifically, what the differences are on the state bucket, I can hide identical fields, etc. It's a nicer experience there trying to figure out what's different between your environments. One of the things I'm fairly excited about, the canvas is just much more cleaned up. You got a lot more space. We got some real-time stuff coming in for who's on your canvas, etc. Get to your bundles here. We have a much richer chat available now than we previously had. Grab things, drag them over like you normally would. I showed the compare just a second ago, so let me hop over here to this state bucket. So we got the property search down here, so this will actually search all of the attributes in your resources, what we used to call artifacts. So we did have some terminology changes. We call artifacts resources now. Artifact definitions are resource types. So this lets you actually get in here, visualize the attributes of what was created here. You can search it as well. Editing the versions, so we still have all of the, we have the release channels and versions. You can come in here and select release channels. If you're doing Simber, you can see here that I'm actually pinned to version 1.2 of this. Config panel, some things look a little different. When you get down to the bottom, plan, we move down to the bottom. It used to be hidden up here at the top. The other thing you'll see here is propose and deploy. So we have native, propose, approve, reject workflows now. We're also going to be bringing ServiceNow and Jira supported flows in the next month, but you have native flows for doing that now, and you can actually control this with the ABAC as well. So you can say maybe the junior team can propose deployments and the leads can approve. So I'll go ahead and just propose a change here. Access logs. I'll spell it wrong. Hit propose. And now I can pop over to the history tab and you'll see that I can propose or reject that. I'm just going to go ahead and reject that one because I'm not going to change that right now. You can also compare deployments. Earlier I showed comparing the environments. You can compare deployments as well. What changed in the last hour? I can grab this change and this change. Maybe I want to come in here and see what was changed when when what was rejected. You can see that I switched the access logging to true. So a really easy way to see what's changed between deployments. Guides can pull information from the canvas. You can do things like show the host name of the database that your app uses. We also rename these tabs. We have dependencies and resources that come out of here. And you can click on here and see that raw resource data if you need to get to it. One other thing on the config panel is you do have a JSON view as well. So if you ever need to copy this over for something, very easy to do so now. Okie doke. So that was most of the canvas stuff. A few other things I'll show off that are pretty big and different. So one, we have a native API workbench here. You can click on, go straight to a graphical workbench for coming in here and building queries. So you can come in here, kind of design stuff. Our new API is super rich. You can query just about everything from just about every angle. You can come in here and query from instances going up to the environment. You can find all of your instances that use a T3 medium. What environments are they in? What regions are they in? So you can kind of use the graph to query and explore data. It's really nice with this for your agents. It's one query. It's not 35 to AWS for this API endpoint and that endpoint. It's one query, boom, save yourself some tokens. You're going to love it. Close this really quick, and then I want to show you the repository screen, audit log, and resources really quick. So audit log, very similar to the old audit log. We have a much richer filtering where you can filter by time, the event type, the actor, and then you can even search for actor ID. So maybe if you had somebody who did something a little naughty and you wanted to see what all they did, you can come in here and search for it. You can also click to view, got a much nicer view here with the full payload. Everything in our audit log in the next month or two with that Jira ServiceNow will be supporting webhooks, so you can actually sync these audit logs out in real time to different destinations. And then repositories. So this is the same repository view that we've had for a while here. I'm going to go ahead and hop over to Postgres. And you can get in here, you can view files, the different versions that you have. You'll notice the instances, deployments, and alarms are missing from here. That will be landing again next week. We're actually rebuilding that on top of a custom dashboard system, so you'll be able to come in and kind of design custom widgets, and that will be coming back as some of the presets in there. The most important thing here is permissions. So you have to explicitly give projects access to bundles now in Massdriver. And so you can see here, it uses the same permission system. There's only one action that you can assign for bundles. So you're saying this bundle is allowed to be accessed or pulled by particular projects. I have a policy in here that just lets pretty much all my projects. So if you're in SAS, these auto-generated for you so that it worked the same as our V0. But if you want to come in here and filter down and say, hey, only certain projects can use certain bundles, it's super easy to do. Very similarly, if you go into resources, do our VPC. Yeah, there we go. So this is a VPC that was provisioned with some data here, and you have to do the same thing here. So you can see here that I'm sharing this VPC with API production. And so what's nice about this using the attribute system is you can target it. So you can say, I'm going to share this with all projects or these projects, and it will get all of the environments, or you can say this specific environment, maybe just production, and it will hit all of your production systems and be available to be used there. So you can kind of do wildcards almost in two ways. You can do it at the project level and at the environment level, or you can mix them together to make very specific project environment permissions or grants there. Last thing I will show is our docs. Did a massive overhaul to our docs, reorganized them, updated all the terminology. There's a reference section here where you'll see CLI, integration docs, etc. GraphQL's in here as well. And you'll see that we auto-generate these forms in here. So you can actually come in here and you can do, I have my Rails application, I'm going to call it Rails, and then generate query, and it'll actually generate a GraphQL query for you. So you can come in here, look for the different queries and mutations that you're trying to use the form generator here. This is the same forms that we use in the front end of the site, and you can fill them out, hit save, and generate a query. And now you can put this into your scripts, into CLI commands, into your different automations from different systems. So, wow, that was 18 minutes, much longer than I had intended, but there's a lot to the platform. A lot of things have changed. There's even more than that. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in Slack, drop me an email. Always happy to hop on a call and show you around. Thanks so much.